It takes forever. Okay. So we are live for another Content Journey Tuesday live chat, and we have a special guest with us this week.
Yay!
I'm so excited. We have the very special Michelle Frechette. Hi, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me join you. This is exciting.
You're like the most professional out of all of us. So you can teach us how to do these.
Yeah, seriously.
I experience does not equal professionalism. I am living proof of that.
That's a great tagline. I like that.
I like that a whole lot. We're going to put that in our social clips now because we're getting good at those too.
For sure.
We do live videos now and we do social clips from them. So
I love it.
yeah, we can add that. So you are in Oklahoma this week. So we get to be so lucky to have you with us, and we have you at the Content Journey offices for a few days. And Thursday we get to celebrate WordPress.
20 years.
A big day.
Right. And I guess I have to share you with your family a little bit.
I mean, one of my younger brothers is graduating high school tonight, so I did come here primarily for that, but I stayed the extra 4 days for you guys.
That's very exciting.
It is.
I guess it's okay. We'll allow it.
Kind of allows it.
We'll allow it since we get time out of it.
Right. It was like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, hey, Michelle's going to come into town, and Ken and Emily were like, we should all get together. We should do like a whole thing. And so like everybody was really excited. So it wasn't
excited too.
But of course I'm like, well, I want her all to myself. Corey and the kids got to see her yesterday without me.
Oh,
that was nice. We had a nice lunch.
Real jealous.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You should tell them what Callaway said.
Which thing? About
Lillian.
Exactly. Which thing? There's always
about Lillian.
So Lillian and Corey walked away from the table, and Callaway leaned over to me and said, she looks like she likes you on the outside, but she's really mean on the inside.
How did your sister like that?
I said I was looking like a true sibling.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think Lillian might be my child.
Right. I don't know where she gets it from.
We don't know either.
Is Callaway learning intentional honesty? Is that how it works?
I think he was born with it.
Right. Ridiculous. Well, okay. So let's get into the talk. So we are spending all this month talking about mental health. I think probably we spend every month talking about mental health around here. But we've been trying to be really intentional this month, talking about our focus with mental health and wellness. And so we get to take this opportunity to talk to you, Michelle, because you spend a lot of your free time and volunteer hours working in the mental health space and giving back there. And so we thought we would take that chance to bring you into this conversation as well. And plus you're a marketing expert. And so we get to bring that voice into this conversation too. And I think one of the first questions that Kenna brought up previous this conversation to remind us and center us around the actual purpose and not just me visiting, because I tend to do that, is how, why is it important for us when we're choosing marketing agencies to work with on, I don't know, choosing those people? How do we find them, and why is it important from a marketing and a mental health standpoint?
So I think that there's a lot of marketing agencies that are really good generalist agencies, right? And so if you are an arborist and somebody says, hey, can you build me a website and write me some content about cutting down trees? That's an easy subject to learn. That's an easy subject to help somebody market about. If you're a grocery store, it's super easy to talk about grocery stores. But when it comes to mental health, it's such a nuanced area. And you're not just dealing with somebody's choice of fabric softener. You're dealing with people's true mental health. And that with that comes mental illness and addiction and all of those things that make up our human side of us, right? And so if you're trusting that to a marketing agency that's a generalist agency and hasn't niched down into understanding what goes into mental health and mental health marketing for mental health wellness, then you're really disadvantaging not only yourself as a company, but you are risking actual people's mental health and well-being and their lives. When you think about addictions, when you think about mental health, mental awareness, you end up not only just talking about, it's not about, is somebody sad? Are they happy? There's suicidal ideations, there's triggers that come into alcoholism and drug abuse and drug addiction. There's all of those things that happen. And when you're putting yourself out as a mental wellness agency, and therefore looking for marketing help with that mental health agency, you want to make sure that the messaging you're putting out there is really, truly helpful, not only to families who are looking for help with people in their lives who are struggling with mental health and addictions, but also to those individuals. Lindsay and I were talking a little while ago about the opportunity to create safe spaces. And if your organization is truly working for mental well-being for those who struggle with mental illness and addiction, then you are striving to create safe spaces for those people to overcome those addictions and work within their mental health diagnoses. And if your marketing agency isn't on board and doesn't understand the right ways to speak about those things and market those things, then you're not only playing around with whether or not you get the right clients, but you're actually also creating triggers or potential triggers for people who are searching on terms and then end up on your site, but end up being triggered by the things that are there as opposed to helped by the things that are there. So it's just so important. It's not grocery store marketing. Not that isn't nuanced also, and that you can't niche down into other areas, and I'm not downplaying those other areas, but you're literally talking about people's lives. And when it comes to that, it's so important that you have marketing agencies that understand the right ways to approach people and families that are working around those issues.
All right, we're done.
I do. That, so well. All the things, just love it.
Oh, did I take your thunder? I'm sorry.
No.
I think it's taken us 3 weeks to say that.
Well, I'm writing a post right now for Big Orange Heart. And if people aren't aware of Big Orange Heart, I know you all know, but it's specifically mental well-being in tech and remote working communities. And it started with WordPress, which is of course the community that I'm most heavily involved with. And I'm writing a post right now titled, why saying choose happiness is problematic. Because if people had the ability to just choose happiness and be happy, don't you think they would? So, and when you're speaking to somebody who is struggling with depression and anxiety specifically, telling them to just be happy downplays their emotion, creates that chasm between you and them, because now they know that you're not a safe space and you're not somebody they can be themselves with. And that kind of that isn't just about that, but that's how marketing agencies, they're just going to slap a label on it. They're just going to, use the right terminologies and things that they think cause that, let's just play into anti-stigmatization without actually understanding what needs to go in behind it. So when you work with a company like Content Journey, of course, who understands and knows the right terminologies, because they understand triggers and they understand the whole mental well-being, I'm forgetting words today, industry, then you know that you're getting involved with a company that can truly understand you and understand how to approach marketing from the heart side of things. And so they're creating opportunities for wellness and not creating opportunities for the opposite of whatever the wellness is in that space. Sorry, I'm struggling with words today.
No.
Hey, if this is you struggling with words, you're killing it.
Thanks.
I love that point that you made, even though it's such a negative thing, just choose happy. I think it's really interesting sometimes when people are anxious or experiencing anxiety, and someone will say, why? Right? Or what do you have to be anxious about? And it's that is not the way anxiety works.
Yeah, no. Or how about, it could be worse. Oh, great. Well, that doesn't help me.
That doesn't help me. Yes.
Oh, exactly.
So it's just little things that are so common that people do and say that can really be damaging if you're not careful.
Absolutely. I mean, choose happiness or choose to be happy looks really great on a sticker, but it's only applied to things that can stick to, right? It can't be applied to your life. It just
Mhm.
doesn't work that way.
Oh, I think we found that as soon as we've created, safe space, we've done this in our personal lives, for a long time, whether it be in our volunteer work or try to do that, all of us, right, individually with our kids or however we've shown up in various ways to do that, but definitely at work, as Content Journey has been created, like trying to be like, okay, no, this is a different type of workplace, or tried to do that as best we can, right? And trying to do those things, it's almost like our focus on mental health awareness for clients has opened up this entirely different space. So talking to a client one day who says, opened up about a hard time they were having, and it ended up becoming this 30-minute conversation of everyone else was kind of dropping off the call, and they stayed on the call with me, and we just had like a one-on-one conversation. There were tears, there was personal connection that was had. It had absolutely nothing to do with work or content or SEO or anything else, but it was this heart connection that's
Mhm.
made, and it goes within saying like, okay, it's beyond this other stuff. Like, sure,
Right.
at the end of the day, are we working for them and making sure that we are the best marketing agency that they've ever seen, and are we working our tail end off for them to see actual results? Heck yeah. Like, we work really hard for our clients, but are we also showing up for them in other ways to
Mhm.
be real humans for them, and to be with kindness and caring? Yes. And
Yeah.
then that leads to the other part that we care so much about, which is making sure we're showing up for their clients in the way
Mhm.
that they want us to, which is where this journey is so important, right? Is that we have to, as a marketing agency, raise the bar and be examples for everyone else, and step into that space in a prominent way of saying somebody has to do it. Somebody has to care more than just about metrics and keywords. Like, yeah, we have that. Check
Right.
on being a
Mhm.
great marketing agency. Done.
Right.
Okay, let's go beyond that now,
Mhm.
and do the rest. And so it's been like, it's really fun that we get to do that part now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Of caring more.
You make me think about the fact that like traffic is great, but it's not that great if everybody's just window shopping. Like, how are you actually making conversions? And the conversions happen because people get the traffic, you get the traffic there, and they convert because they see themselves in that organization, right? They see themselves in whatever it is that you're offering there. And if your solution is helping people with mental illness and addictions, then when they get there, they better see themselves finding a better life through where they land. Otherwise, they're just window shopping and off to the next place that they think that actually can help them. And it might be that your organization actually can help them, but if your marketing agency isn't using language and isn't using imagery that actually helps them understand that, then they're going to keep moving on. And so it's not different in marketing in general that you have to get people there and make the conversions, but it's different in that you have to connect with a person's psyche and their heart, because it is something. It's not just which car am I buying, it's how am I going to make my life better moving forward.
Mhm. And I think, Michelle, that people can tell when you're a safe person, when it's a
Mhm.
safe space, when they can see themselves healing there. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty apparent. One of the things that sort of bugs me opposite of the bad stuff we see, right, which is, like you said, sometimes words and images, is a little bit of the false hope that some
Mm.
of these agencies can give, where it almost seems like if you come here and you're here for 1 week, you're going to be healed from your addiction, right? I
Right.
think that's also potentially very damaging to people,
Yeah.
because it sets,
Authenticity is so important.
right. I think it sort of sets them up for failure, and
Yeah.
feeling even more guilt and shame and failure than they already do.
Because honestly, to connect the dots too, right? Like recovery from addictions, and then also recovering your mental health and mental illness is a journey. And so having understanding of that it is a journey and it isn't just a destination, right? So somebody who says that they've been cured of alcoholism, for example, doesn't really understand what alcoholism is and that it's a lifelong journey for sobriety. And so having that that conversation appear, the start of that conversation on your homepage is super important. And the idea of curing things it's a misnomer, it's a fallacy. And so having an understanding, your marketing agency understand those terminologies matter for, not only for the conversion, but not to give that false hope, as you say, kind of so important.
I think that's funny. Oh, sorry. It's funny too, because it's a correlation. Like SEO isn't overnight either. We can't make people come to the website in a week. So why could an addiction be quote unquote cured in a week? But that's, everybody wants the quick fix and the easy answer. And so there is a certain draw to that, you know, of going like, oh, there's an easy way out of this. There's an easy answer to my marketing. Okay, sign me up for that. I want that. And that's what we've talked about a lot of, why do clients who have a conversation with us and have a conversation with a different agency choose the other agency, right? And sometimes they will choose the one that tells them, oh yeah, we'll turn your traffic around in a month. Because we don't say that, right? We don't tell people we'll turn their traffic around in a month. And I understand, right? Like if somebody told me they could do that for me, I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds really good. I want that one too. And so I understand the desire for the easy answer and the quick fix. But there's a piece of authenticity that is missing within that. And then there are people who appreciate the honesty and obviously we have clients, right? So there's people that appreciate the honesty and walk through our doors. And the same thing with the treatment centers and recovery and addiction people that we work with that do come to the table with authenticity of this is a lifelong recovery journey and people choose to go into their doors as well. But there's always the draw to the easy answer.
The two questions that I think as a marketer that I hate the most are, can you make the logo bigger? Which obviously is the joke, but is also true. But then also like, you know, I launched the site on Monday and on Wednesday they say, how come I'm not on page 1 of Google? And both of those questions are because I didn't educate my client well enough. Like, why is the logo shouldn't be half a page? And why aren't you going to show up to Google on in 2 days? And so working with a company like Content Journey who says it's about the journey. It isn't an immediate, there's no immediate gratification. Everything takes time. And if you're doing it right, it's supposed to take time because it's not a quick fix. And so that makes perfect sense to work with a company that's upfront about those things.
So Michelle, the first time I met you, met you virtually. I, first of all, adored you because you made me feel so comfortable. I was speaking at an event and I wasn't really sure about how the software was going to work. And I was just a little bit nervous. But then I started reading your writing and you're an incredible and thoughtful writer. And you share so much about your learned experiences in a way that I think can really benefit so many people. I know that you're a word nerd and a stickler about words, just like I am. Can you talk a little bit about why to you this is so important when we're talking about mental health and choosing your words so carefully?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are things that we have to take into account that are actually stigmatizing and triggering words. And we have to be super careful not to use those in our writing, whether it's a content piece or whether it's homepage content, because there are things that either don't make sense or that are absolutely triggering, and especially when you're talking about mental health. Words like for example, on Big Orange Heart, whenever I write a post, if there are trigger warnings that need to be put, we put them right at the top of the page. It's so important that if we're going to speak about or that somebody has written a piece for us, and we have posted things anonymously for people to protect them, but we've had people talk about suicidal ideation, for example. You need to be careful when you're talking about suicide that people who are perhaps dealing with suicidal ideation or are triggered by to act on it aren't finding inspiration to do those things, and
Right.
instead are finding help not to do those things. And so we have to be super careful about words. Words matter. Words matter
Mhm.
so much. When I work with underrepresented groups, words matter. You know, there are words that we say by by euphemisms, like we'll say the R word or the R slur or the N word. If you can't say the word, then you really shouldn't be writing the word. And we should be careful about other words too that we don't even have to say those things about, but that we know can be triggering for people, like saying things like, well, just choose to be happiness. I don't understand why this is so upsetting to you. And how there's a difference between things like sadness and depression. And we have to be careful that when we talk about those things, that we're actually talking about what we mean, we're saying what we mean, and we're directing people to resources that can help them through those situations. So absolutely words matter, and how we portray things and how we portray our businesses and ourselves in those businesses, it really, really makes a difference.
Awesome. I think you do such a great job of highlighting just all the challenge and nuance that comes in this space and when it comes to language choice. And I'd really love, just because I know you have worked in the space for so long, to hear what are some things that have worked really well. Like what, maybe it's a marketing campaign that you've seen done or content created that you've seen done in a way that like really honors people, that cultivates that safe space. So kind of pivoting a little bit from the challenge into like, what have you seen that like works and that has honored people well?
I think that creating an open and caring environment works really well. And it's challenging to do that through marketing, but it's not impossible to do that through marketing. What I've seen, it's easier to talk about what doesn't work, right? So like what doesn't work is finding quotes online and just spitting out quotes from people. Like Abraham Lincoln, I was just looking up something a little while ago. I'm going to paraphrase, of course, but Abraham Lincoln basically said, happiness is a choice. Choose happiness. And I'm like, I wish it was that simple. Oh, Abe, you're so wrong, you know, but putting that on the top of your website doesn't serve anybody. First of all, we can't go back to him and say, you want to rethink that? You know, can we have a conversation about that? But also, like people living or sharing their lived experiences is a way that really helps. So if you're able to use testimonials, whether you can assign an actual name or you're using initials to protect, you know, for anonymity, because we're talking about mental health, those things matter. And being able to, it's just the authenticity. I don't know how to say it any more than that, Emily. And I don't know how, like, there's no real formula that I can be like, oh, do A, B, and C, and things work really well. But the authenticity, inspiring people to act for their own good and their own mental well-being. It's not easy, but that's what has to happen, right? It's not enough to just placate and to put, you know, those things out there that people like, oh, this person said it, you know, Buddha said it, it's inspirational. Abraham Lincoln said it, it's inspirational. Well, that may or may not be true, that those people are inspirational people, but those kinds of quotes really don't do much to actually bridge that gap and help people, inspire people to action. So the authenticity piece is just so important. If you can put quotes from the directors and the people, if you can show the workers, especially when you're talking about blog content, for example, why not interview somebody who's actually working with people within mental health and ask them some questions? Of course, always protecting, never breaking HIPAA, those kinds of things, but talk about situational things, not people, and what helps and what works and what inspires people to work within the mental health industry. Those, I think, are things that show your organization actually cares, because you're hiring and working with people who are dedicating themselves to helping others have better mental well-being.
And I also think you might have wanted to say this one example about this article that you read this week on Digital Marketer. Talking about marketing and mental health.
Yeah, I might have gotten
very good example.
You literally just sent it to me. I didn't read it yet.
I'm just
kidding.
So subtle, Lindsay. So subtle.
I know.
Share the link, Lindsay. Share the link.
Yeah, right. I will put it in the show notes on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
listen to me.
Well,
I'm so profesh with all of this stuff.
We don't have show notes.
We do now.
we do
Yeah.
Now we have links in them. Perfect.
Yeah. No, that everything that you all stand for in Content Journey. I've worked with you Emily, you and I have worked together on some stuff for Post Status. Lindsay, you and I have worked together on a million different things. Kenna, you and I have worked together on that event. The authenticity that you all bring to the work that you do is just, it is inspirational. And to know that if I came to you with things that I needed help with, I could trust you with the things that I'm working on, and that I can trust you, not could, but can trust you with the work that we do together. And that nothing is done without oversight, right? So like Emily and I look at content calendars together for Post Status, and she's like, is there anything you want to tweak? Is there anything we shouldn't include? Am I missing anything? You know, but that I don't have to do the work of it, but I can still like take a look at it and trust that the work that's been put into it is thoughtful, and that the work that's put, and we're not talking about mental health when we're talking about Post Status, right? So but to make sure that the messaging is on, and that, you know, I don't think I've ever corrected anything and like, oh, maybe you didn't know about this event, can we add that in, you know, kind of thing. Because it's just so thorough, and that you understand who your customers are and where they're coming from is just, it's good stuff.
We love collaborating with you and getting to support all the things that you're a part of. It's really fun.
Oh, thank you. I love working with you guys too.
Okay, do we have any final thoughts before we end our discussion today?
I'm just gonna say hire them because they know their stuff.
Hey, I like it.
I like it too.
Do y'all want to hear something funny? So Patrick Rowland is watching our live chat. So hi, Patrick. So he said he had a client once who demanded he replace his logo with pictures of their dog.
I hope that was a hard no.
Now wait a minute.
I was like, Kenna could probably go for that.
Yeah. She's got some
Content Journey's
new mascot.
Put the dog in the hero image, but you have to have the branding at the top of the page.
Right? That's funny.
Just Honey's face
I love it.
all over our
I want to know more about this. I want to know the business type. I want to know all of the things. That's really
Patrick's going to be invited to the next chat.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, that's probably a
go.
great idea. We should totally have Patrick. He's been in marketing for so long, so he would definitely have some great things to say. So anyway, thank you for joining us, Michelle. And I hope
Thanks for
everyone
having
listens
me.
to you and hires Content Journey for all of their marketing needs. Because you heard it from Michelle Frechette,
That's
everyone. And everyone should listen to Michelle. So
This is where the stamp of approval comes across the screen. If only we thought of that.
Exactly, with a clean cut for social media. So anyway, no, thank you for joining us. It's always such a pleasure. And we will see you all next week.
Bye.
I think